Do you find yourself sometimes wondering why the rich keep getting richer and the poor keep getting even poorer? I believe that Robert Kiyosaki has the answer to the question, who wrote a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad many years ago. In the book, Robert has a friend called Mike, whose father is very wealthy, and teaches them lessons about finances that changed his life. The guidance provided by the rich dad is what caused Kiyosaki to be successful and inspired his book. His father was an intelligent man who was well educated, but he describes him as the poor dad in the book. No matter how much he worked, he could never earn enough money and his money kept dwindling. Mike's father worked just as hard as his biological father, except that he had a different mindset and believed that it is vital to understand how money works and invest in obtaining a financial education. The two dads had different mindsets. The poor dad said that you have to study hard, to get high marks, to be employed by a good company, and have a stable job until your retirement. The rich dad said that studying hard will help to find the best company to purchase. The poor dad believed that a house is the best investment to acquire. The rich dad believed that a house was a liability. The poor dad paid bills first. The rich dad delayed the payment of bills. Let us look at what lessons we can learn from this book. The rich have money to work for them, while the poor and middle class work for money. Having money working for you means that you generate income even when you are not physically at the workplace. You should not have a job to earn a salary but learn a new skill or gain knowledge. Having a job should be a short-term solution to earning income while working on long-term challenge of generating wealth, success, and financial freedom. People living in poverty tend to work for money, and their motivation is fueled by fear and greed. They are fearful of taking risks and stay in their comfort zone. They fear that they will not maintain their standard of living and keep up with society. They stay at a job that they might not always like or enjoy because they fear that they will not pay their bills if they lose it. But the rich see an opportunity that comes to them and seize it. The most significant wealth that any person has is their education. Financial literacy is understanding and applying financial skills effectively and includes personal financial management, saving, and budgeting. Financial literacy is essential because no matter how much money you accumulate, you can still end up being poor. It is critical to know the difference between an asset and a liability. Assets generate money, enabling a person to become rich, especially when the income exceeds the expenses incurred. What is essential is not the amount you make but the amount of money you can keep. Assets have value and produce income or increase in value as time goes on and has a market where it can be easily bought or sold. Liabilities result in a loss of money because they have costs associated with them. Therefore, a personal residence is not an asset unless its values increase more than the cost of ownership. In contrast, rental property is an asset because it can generate a passive income that will exceed the operating and financing costs. The rich acquire assets, while the poor tend to receive expenses. The middle class obtains liabilities which they believe are assets. The problem starts with the fact that people are not provided with financial literacy at a young age. In Chapter 3, Robert explains that as a person, you need to figure out how to be your boss and start a business, which will result in financial freedom. The difference between the poor and middle class and the rich is the following. The poor and middle class spend their entire lives working for someone else. They mainly work for the company that has employed them and earn money for it, and indirectly work for the government since a portion of their salary goes to it in the form of taxes. Then lastly, they work for the bank and give them money for their mortgage loans. Then at the end they do not have much money left. They focus on their income statement and check whether they are making enough money to make their monthly expenses. The rich start with having a job like most people but start purchasing assets like stocks and real estate. They focus on the asset column on the balance sheet instead of the income statement. They do not accept just any assets, but obtain only income-generating assets. As the assets increase, the income will also increase. The rich dad explained to Robert and Mike that there were no taxes in England and America many years ago, and the original plan of the government was to tax those who can afford to lose a portion of their income. As time went on, the government needed more money and started to tax the poor and middle class. The rich know the corporate legal structure, which gives them a significant advantage, and use their understanding to build corporations. They end up protecting their wealth because a corporate company's income tax rate is lower than that of an individual. Furthermore, they hire an intelligent accountant to figure out how to reduce their tax burden. Everyone has a talent, and intelligent people who are bold are the ones that prosper. And do not wait for opportunities to come to them but chase them. Many people do not win because they are afraid of losing. And this fear causes them not to become rich. The avoidance of failure automatically results in the avoidance of success. The poor and middle class view the pain and suffering of losing money as more significant than the happiness achieved by getting wealthy. The rich see failures as lessons that will propel them to do better. Winners are inspired by loss. An intelligent investor knows the best time to invest and make lots of money, while the poor and middle class are afraid to do anything. You need to always ask yourself, what are your daily activities taking you? In other words, what is your vision, and is what you are doing aligned to your goals? You need to seek work that will accumulate the highest amount of knowledge, then the highest amount that you can earn. It would be best to consider what skills you would need to acquire to have a successful business before choosing a specific career. According to the Rich Dad, a person needs to know a little about many things and gain sufficient knowledge about a business's specific aspect. It is not necessary to have too much knowledge about it. Many different skills are needed to succeed in business and include leadership skills, time management, sales and marketing skills, and communication skills. The main thing that differentiates a wealthy person from a poor person is how they manage fear, cynicism, laziness, bad habits, and arrogance. These are the 5 biggest obstacles people have to face when trying to become financially independent. Fear. Part of investing will result in loss of money, and there is fear that comes along with it. Kiyosaki says that he has never met a rich person who never lost money and has met many poor people who have never invested in anything. Cynicism. Being skeptical and having the what-if question. Having friends and family constantly reminding you of your limitations worsens this nagging thought. It is essential to consider possible situations that could go wrong, but do not allow those things to stop you from moving forward. Instead, think of ideas to mitigate those risks. Laziness. The book emphasizes that you should not confuse being busy with being productive. Some people arrive early in the office before most employees and leave late at night but do not accomplish much. Busy people are sometimes the laziest workers. Bad habits. Kiyosaki says it would be best if you stopped the habit of paying others first before paying yourself. When you pay yourself first, then you become motivated to think of ways of generating income to pay off your creditors. Arrogance. You need to train yourself to listen to what other people say regarding money and investment. If you find yourself being arrogant about something, you need to educate yourself more about the subject or locate a person with expertise.